Welcome to the most epic battle in all of history. Barbie versus He-Man. Standing at 11.5 inches tall, Barbie is accused of creating an unrealistic and virtually unobtainable body image for young girls, driving young women to develop eating disorders such as bulimia and anorexia. And in the left corner, we have...
By the power of Grayskull! I have the power!
So I decided to make this video because of a recent news story where a man almost lost his arms due to injecting a substance known as synthol, which artificially makes your arms and other body parts look bigger. And it got me thinking, no one ever talks about the pressures that men are under to look a certain way.
What?
Now, we've heard it so many times before that women just have it so bad, they're under so much pressure to look good and get skinny, and a lot of people blame the media and things like Barbie dolls, which ingrain this idea of an unrealistic and unachievable body image into young girls, and a lot of people think that's what's causing a lot of girls to develop eating disorders and body image issues later in life. So why the fuck don't we hear anything about He-Man? Does this seem like a realistic or achievable body image to anyone? Do young boys not play with action figures like these? If people claim that Barbie leaves an impression on young girls, then why isn't anyone talking about He-Man leaving an impression on young boys? Well, the answer is quite simple. No one gives a fuck about men.
Get up now! Get up! I wasn't texting her. I wasn't texting her. I saw you. How do you know? Stop abusing me in public and embarrassing me. Stop abusing me in public, alright? Alright? Stop abusing me in public. Not in public. Yo, what? Mind your business. Mind your business. Yo, man.
I mean, look at this! It takes a guy who practically turned himself into a freak show for male body image issues to even be mentioned on television.
Fui embora da minha cidade de Caldas Novas e fui morar em Goiânia. Chegando lá na academia, vi uns caras muito grandes, fortes, braços enormes, e eu comecei a se aproximar deles e fazer amizade com os caras, e foi onde eles me apresentou o Synthol.
No one gives a fuck about men!
Muscle-bound buffoon!
Still not convinced? Want even more proof that nobody cares about men or young boys? Well, meet Lamely!
Hi, I'm Nikolai Lam. In this past year, I've been working on several body image projects. For my first project, I showed how distorted fashion dolls are in relation to typical human body proportions. I looked at the website of the CDC and took the measurements of the average 19-year-old American woman. These images went viral, and the response was overwhelming. And now, I want to introduce to you the Lamely line of dolls. Lamely promotes realistic beauty standards.
So where the fuck is the Lamely equivalent for boys? Whenever I walk into a toy store, all of the boys' action figures are just absolutely jacked. They're pretty much all based on comic book superheroes that have a look that can only be achieved with steroid use, the only exceptions being Legos and Transformers. And speaking of steroids...
Is there any point in time right now where you look at yourself at this size, and you look in the mirror, you're like, fuck, I need to gain 10 more pounds, 20 more pounds?
Yeah, it's you always feel that way. I think it's in us. You know, it's I don't want to say it's a disease, but it's an addiction. So it's always there. You know, when I used to compete, I'd be backstage. I'm sure you can relate. And you're pumping up, and you're looking at the guy next to you, and you're like, fuck, that guy's bigger than me. You're like, oh my god, you're huge, and you look so great. And in my head, I'm like, this motherfucker's bigger than me.
A massive, gigantic bodybuilder like Rich Piana thinks he looks small. I wonder why that would be.
I constantly wanted to be bigger my whole life. You know, it started with the He-Man dolls when I was 6 years old.
Yeah, He-Man.
I think that alone is enough to prove my point, but there are other superheroes like Captain America that have origin stories where they're literally injected with some kind of futuristic super steroid that gives them all kinds of new muscle and super strength, and they become these awesome superheroes.
Beast man, you clumsy oaf! Put your seatbelt on!
Steroids are being glamorized by the media, and boys and young men are being encouraged to take them. And it doesn't just end there. Even in mainstream entertainment, the focus is solely on women. You know why? Come on, take a guess.
You've voiced concerns about the pressure on women, young women in particular in Hollywood, to be thin. I mean, do you worry about being put under pressure to lose weight for a role? I mean, would you say no to a director if they told you to lose a few pounds?
Yeah, and I have. We have the ability to control this image that young girls are going to be seeing. We need to make girls see enough of this body that we can't imitate, that we'll never be able to obtain, these unrealistic expectations.
Yeah, Jennifer, women are under so much pressure in Hollywood to look good. I mean, it's so hard to diet and exercise for a movie. The standard for women is just way too high. And it's really sending a bad message to all the young girls who watch these movies and look up to these actresses. I mean, the damage it's causing all of these young girls to see women with these perfect bodies, it's just not right, you know? Something has to be done to protect these girls from these kinds of things. No one gives a fuck about men. So, boys play with action figures like He-Man that create this ridiculously unobtainable body image. Young men are also exposed to action movie stars who have virtually perfect physiques and they look like they're chiseled out of stone. And, to make things worse, there are actual, real-life people who live up to He-Man dolls. So, what can we do? It's not like anyone cares, and I'm sure I'm going to get idiots in the comments section telling me, "Oh, you're only saying this because you're jealous that you can't get as big as those guys," which is just completely ignoring the issue and making things worse.
Just as I suspected. Hollow!
So my recommendation is just stop caring, grow thicker skin, whatever you want to call it. Just do whatever you can to distance yourself from this bullshit. Body image is for the most part unimportant, and sure, it's nice to look good, and a little bit of vanity can help us eat better and exercise more, but if you're trying to emulate these extremes, you're just going to end up becoming unhealthy and miserable. So keep things simple, eat well, exercise, focus on being healthy and happy, not looking like He-Man, and of course, always make those vegan gains. And I'm sure a lot of the guys watching this started lifting because they wanted to look like some kind of superhero or action movie star, so why don't you leave in the comments down below what your original bodybuilding motivation was. As you can see, mine was to look like Dragon Ball Z characters, and any ladies watching too, why don't you leave in the comments what made you start working out or dieting, whether it be Barbie dolls or any other kind of media. And don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.
What a relief! When will this poisonous product cease? This is another public service announcement. You can believe it or you can doubt it. Let us begin now with the cow. The way it gets to your plate and how.
Muscle-bound buffoon!